In today's video, we will be replacing this plastic extruder with this aluminum extruder. An extruder assembly replacement will need to be done within the first several hundred hours of a 3D printer's lifespan. For this project, you will need an extruder assembly kit which comes with all the parts you see here, as well as a diagram that shows you where each part goes. You'll also need the Allen keys that came with your printer, or a toolkit like this one. The links to both the assembly and the toolkit are in the description below. Let's turn on the printer and heat up the nozzle so we can remove the filament before removing the extruder assembly. In this video, I already had the printer loaded with PETG, so we had to heat the nozzle up to 240 degrees to remove the filament. With the nozzle heated, we will hold open the extruder assembly and pull the filament out of the printer and then set it to the side. Next, we will take our toolkit or Allen keys and remove the screw and spring that put pressure on the extruder arm. It's important to have a tray or bowl to hold all your loose screws and pieces so they aren't lost. We don't need to break down the arm assembly, we just need to remove the one screw that holds it in place. Now all we need to do is remove the 3 bolts that hold the extruder assembly and the extruder stepper motor to the mounting bracket. With our extruder disassembled, we will turn off the printer and remove the connector from the extruder stepper motor. Once removed, you can see the wear on the extruder gear that causes our printing issues and failed prints. We can now take our stepper motor to the shop and remove the press fit gear with the vise. We'll start by locking the stepper motor in the vise. I recommend having soft jaws for your vise so you don't mar the stepper motor. Make sure the motor connector is facing down so that it isn't crushed by the vise. You'll want the soft jaws and the motor set far enough back so that way the screwdrivers that we'll use to pry the gear will be able to touch the solid metal jaws. Now we'll go ahead and get 2 flathead screwdrivers that we don't mind bending to pry the brass gear off. You'll want to place the tips of both screwdrivers behind the gear and begin pressing away from yourself. It may take some time to find the right amount of pressure to pry the gear off. If the soft jaws or the motor begin to slip out of the vise, just stop, reset your motor, and tighten the vise a little bit more. It's very important to be clear of the front of the vise because the gear will pop off unexpectedly. Ta-da! Now that the brass gear is off, we'll begin assembling the arm of the extruder and screwing on the connector for the Bowden tube. We will first take this bolt and put the split washer and bearing on it and then screw it into the arm here. Easy. Next, we'll screw on the Bowden tube connector. Now it may be tempting to screw on the tension adjustment screw, but if we do, we'll block this mounting hole. That's all we can pre-assemble, so let's go back to the office and put the extruder assembly on the printer. I need to disconnect the old mounting plate from the Bowden tube before I can start putting on the new extruder assembly. Let's get a better view. I've swapped the old parts in the tray to the ones for our new extruder assembly. I will also be using a steel gear that I want to test the wear life on instead of the brass gear that comes with the kit. We'll want to make sure the grub screws on the new gear are backed out enough so that they don't stop the gear from going on. Then we'll put the gear on the motor shaft using the top of the gear to make sure that it's level and in the right place. Once we are able to hold it level, we will tighten the 2 grub screws. You want the screws to be tight enough to where the gear doesn't slide, but not so tight as to strip the screws. Now we will reconnect the stepper motor to the printer. Next, we will line up our extruder stepper motor and our mounting plate with the mounting bracket. With our motor, bracket, and plate aligned, we will begin tightening the 3 mounting screws. Next, we will screw in the spring retainer screw into the arm. Now we will place the screw and the screw sleeve in the slot on the arm. Once the sleeve and the screw are in place, tighten down the arm. First, I want to thank you for watching this much of the video. Second, Video Delta forgot to record putting in the arm tension screw, so if you haven't done that, now's a good time. Now I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you. We are just about done. We will now carefully place the tension spring and post on the arm screw, then screw in the tensioner spring. You only want to tighten in a click or two, any more and you risk cutting into filament, which leads to failed prints. Just a few more steps left. Now, we'll want to tighten down our Bowden tube connector with our wrench, and then place our Bowden tube in the connector. For the final step, I'll run cleaning filament through the printer because I'm going to be switching from PETG to PLA. Clearing out the PETG from the nozzle should help to prevent clogs because PLA prints at a much lower temperature than PETG. And with that, our project is finished. And we have a shiny new extruder to show for all our hard work. Once again, thank you for watching this video. In my next series of videos, I'll be taking you through all the finishing processes of a Halo Reach plasma pistol. One of the parts of which is printing on the screen right now. In this series, I will show the processes for taking a raw print fresh off the print bed to a fully painted prop. So subscribe to my channel to be among the first to know when those videos go up. Also, if you're interested in seeing the entirety of my current build journal, check out my thread on the405th.com, linked in the description below. As always, if you have any questions or ideas for more videos, I'll gladly respond to them in the comments below. Thanks for watching and have fun with your projects.